Welcome to 2C TV, your global news channel. I'm Maya 2C, and we have some breaking news coming from the capital of the United Kingdom. Yes, there is now a police manhunt emergency in the city as the Met Police are hunting down yet another foreign criminal and prisoner who was accidentally released early. Not even early, just accidentally released randomly, and he has now escaped. This is a huge scandal. Number one, there is a national security threat. Number two, the authorities lied and hid the information. Number three, the Justice Secretary David Lammy is in huge trouble because his office knew, and we have a 2C TV exclusive confirmation from the Ministry of Justice, which we're going to go to. So I'm going to give you guys the latest update. We have a number of videos from the Prime Minister's questions, which is extremely important. We're going to get your reaction. This is a live, ongoing development. Before we start, we've got 2 days left. If you want to take advantage of our 25% offer of 2C TV Plus annual memberships, if you use the promo code NYC25, just go directly on 2c.tv to join. And then, of course, don't forget to download the 2C TV app to stay up to date with everything that we have. All right, let's talk about what's going on here. A second migrant, the sex offender, of course, this is just the norm now these days, has now been accidentally released from prison. This is a 24-year-old Algerian man who has now been released from HMP Wandsworth in South London. The problem with this is the timing and also the delay in terms of the announcement, considering this is an emergency, considering that this man is a dangerous criminal currently walking freely the streets of the UK. This is even more different compared to what happened with the previous one a couple of weeks ago, because that was an accident apparently because he was supposed to be deported and they just let him go. This one was just randomly released. Now, once it's an accident, twice, you're going to have to ask some serious questions. The Metropolitan Police were only informed at lunchtime yesterday, Tuesday the 4th of November, and they are only telling us now. They could have asked for the public's support and assistance. They didn't, because they don't care. Now, let's talk about everything that we know in terms of this case and the reactions from the government themselves. All right, in terms of the manhunt, the Met Police have released a statement saying that shortly after 1 p.m. on Tuesday, the 4th of November, the Met was informed by the prison service that a prisoner had been released in error from HMP Wandsworth. The prisoner is a 24-year-old man of Algerian nationality, so he's not even a British national. Officers are carrying out urgent inquiries in an effort to locate the man and return him to custody. Now, this is where the scandal gets worse, because as we still don't know what's going on right now in terms of where he is and what the police are doing. Why did the prison service, the officers, take some time to actually tell the police? Number two, the police knew about this yesterday. They didn't tell the public. So that's the second problem. Number three, the Ministry of Justice and the Justice Secretary, who's also Deputy Prime Minister, David Lammy, who was literally in the House of Commons 2 hours ago, literally 2 hours ago, doing the Prime Minister's questions because Keir Starmer is not around. He's washing his hair. At Prime Minister's questions, the Shadow Minister, James Cartledge, who was standing in for Kemi Badenoch, asked David Lammy 5 times whether any other foreign criminal or illegal immigrant or asylum seeker has been accidentally released, let out of prison since Hadoush Kabautu. David Lammy 5 times refused to answer. Let's go to that moment.
Mr. Speaker, the public are extremely concerned about what happened in the Kabautu case. They want to know there won't be a repeat. So I'm putting to him a very clear question about his responsibilities. I repeat, can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison? Can he answer the question?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm looking forward to being up against the member for Newark next time. In 25 years in this House, I've not witnessed a more shameful spectacle, frankly.
Then it escalated because he kept asking and asking because he knew. At that point, the shadow cabinet knew, and they knew the news was going to come out, and they basically trapped David Lammy. He's lying here. Then he lost his temper.
Mr. Speaker, he's the Justice
I'm going to turn it up
Secretary.
again.
He's responsible for the justice system. He needs to take responsibility, and I'm asking him a straight question. And I'm going to repeat it once more for the avoidance of doubt, because he didn't answer it twice. He's here to answer questions. Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison? It's a clear question. Can he give an answer?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Get a grip, man. I know I'm the Justice Secretary. That's why I'm at the dispatch box, also as Deputy Prime Minister. We know that. I'm not going to pray in aid. Dame Anne Owens is a former Deputy Commissioner in London, head of the NCA. It is for her to get to the bottom of that work. Of course, we know that there have been spikes since 2021 under his watch. When did he come to this House and apologise?
I think it was convenient for Keir Starmer not to be there today, because if Starmer also knew, because now we know, I'm gonna confirm this in a second, by the way. Then, and if Starmer is found to have lied or misled the House, then he would have to resign as Prime Minister. But David Lammy he's toast. He's done. His career is done. David Lammy messing up, you could just sack the Justice Secretary and just replace him with another clown. But the Prime Minister collapsing is obviously going to affect the whole government and the economy and the markets and everything else. So it was convenient for Starmer to obviously not be around today because of his schedule. Now, James Cartledge, afterwards, after the Prime Minister's questions, minutes after this, after asking 5 times, he then raised the point of order. He knew what was about to happen within like 10 minutes. He raised a point of order to address the reports that a second asylum seeker, or a foreign criminal, let's just say, was accidentally released from prison. David Lammy then suddenly decided to leave the House of Commons, the chamber, immediately, because he realized it's probably best for him not to be around. Watch this.
It's on a serious issue, I think, Mr. Speaker, just to be clear. The Telegraph are reporting that a police manhunt has been launched for a second asylum seeker mistakenly freed from prison. The question is, Mr. Speaker, can you advise me on how I can ask the Justice Secretary whether he was aware of this when I asked him about it repeatedly in Prime Minister's question?
You want to? No. You put it on the record, right? Let's just move on. Front bench change over.
Now look at Lammy on the left. There we go, and he got up and he left. But he's like, I'm not staying here because there's no point in trapping myself when I know that this is now a huge national scandal. Now, David Lammy has not been having a good day, because just before the whole thing kicked off, when the Prime Minister's questions were starting, he forgot to wear his red poppy. And obviously for these people, it becomes a huge scandal. He then decided to take a red poppy of another Labour MP, Calvin Bailey, to wear that. So that was before on the left and after on the right. So he forgot to bring his red poppy. He had to ask Calvin Bailey. Now, Calvin Bailey, the Labour MP, is an RAF veteran. He's a military veteran who doesn't have a poppy now because the Deputy Prime Minister stole it from him. It's completely embarrassing. This is the state of the British government, ladies and gentlemen. Like, the whole thing, by the way, comes, this accidental release, allegedly, despite new tighter checks that have now been introduced, described by David Lammy as the toughest ever brought in to stop further accidental releases. Now, the problem here, the prison service delaying the decision to tell the police delaying the decision to tell the public, and the Minister of Justice just not telling us. There's another crisis. There is a manhunt, active manhunt. Nobody knows anything about the prisoner. The name of the man and the photo have not been released. You see the problem? Now, members of the public right now in this country are in danger, but they don't know what to do because they don't know what this man looks like or what his name is. Now, we have a reaction from Downing Street and the Prime Minister's office. Keir Starmer's spokesman has suggested that the Prime Minister only became aware of the second accidental migrant release when the Met Police announced it, which was about an hour ago. He told the reporters that the Met have released a statement, I think, in the last few minutes. I think, that was a quote, by the way. He said, one mistaken release is one too many, and the case was utterly unacceptable. Now, Downing Street can't say when David Lammy found out. Now, we do have a 2CTV exclusive, which we can now reveal, ladies and gentlemen. 2CTV can confirm, according to our Ministry of Justice sources, that Justice Secretary David Lammy's office did know about the foreign prisoner's early release or accidental release during the Prime Minister's questions when he was asked. This is just getting from bad to worse. It's a total farce. It doesn't stop here, though, because there's an issue, there's a lot of obviously reaction to this. Guido Fawkes said this. Either, this is before we got the confirmation, by the way, Lammy didn't know about the second asylum seeker release, which the Met found out about yesterday, or B, Lammy did know and didn't tell Downing Street. Both a disaster. So, as far as we know, we do know that the Minister of Justice knew. David Lammy's office knew, okay? What we don't know is whether they told Downing Street. Now, if they have told Downing Street and the Prime Minister, then the Prime Minister's toast. Keir Starmer is gone. If they haven't, the Prime Minister is now going to be furious with David Lammy and his team, which means Lammy is in huge trouble. Just like all the other ministers who have been sacked. We've had so many ministers who have now been thrown under the bus just to save Keir Starmer's job. Now, we can also bring you guys confirmation that we have a statement from the Justice Secretary and the Deputy Prime Minister, David Lammy. He says, I am absolutely outraged and appalled by the mistaken release of a foreign criminal wanted by the police. The Metropolitan Police is leading an urgent manhunt, and my officials have been working through the night to take him back to prison. So he confirmed that now. There we go. Here's his toast. Victims deserve better, and the public deserve answers. This is why I have already brought in the strongest checks ever to clamp down on such failures and ordered an independent investigation led by Dame Lynn Owens to uncover what went wrong and address the rise in accidental releases, which has persisted for too long. This latest incident exposes deeper flaws across the failing criminal justice system. We inherited Dame Lynn Owens' investigations will leave no stone unturned to identify these issues so we can fix them, improve safeguards, and ensure the public is properly protected. Well, if she leaves no stone unturned, then that means David Lammy is not going to survive. He is toast. We also have a reaction from the leader of the opposition, Kemi Badenoch, who has now said that James Cartledge asked the Deputy Prime Minister 5 times to tell us if another migrant sex offender had been accidentally released from prison. Instead of answering, Lammy lost his temper. Now we read it has happened again and has been on the run for a week. This is a shambles of a government. It's so, again, my problem is on 3 different levels. One is with the prison service for not reporting it to the police. 2 is with the police for not telling the public, guys, be aware, there's another criminal just walking around. And 3, David Lammy's team in the Ministry of Justice. What are they doing here? Anyway, as I said, we actually have a quick thing to mention about the staff at the Wandsworth prison. This is the prison which somehow decided to release this migrant foreign criminal. Staff at HMP Wandsworth have now told 2CTV team that the prison has been in a state of panic after this release, with one prison officer calling it an S-storm. We are told that security has been a huge issue at the prison for a while, but nobody cared to report it. With an inspection report saying that in 2024 that it was still reeling from a high-profile escape that occurred over the last year. Basically, the people have been escaping and being released and just doing whatever they want to do and smuggling things into prison, and nobody knows how to stop it. The report also said that they found a chaos on the wings of the prison, and staff across most of the units are unable to confirm where all their prisoners are during working days. So let me just repeat this. In a normal situation right now in Wandsworth, one of the biggest prisons that we have in London, as we speak, which is currently about 2 p.m. On the 5th of November, or also what a date, 5th of November, all right? Right now, the prison staff don't know where the prisoners are inside the prison. They've lost the prisoners in the prison. They don't know. They can't locate everybody. They can't get them together. They don't know how to find them. But they're just prisoners just walking around like it's a house party. And I'm not surprised that people are being released. Nobody knows what's going on. Right now, there needs to be the military sent to the Wandsworth prison. You need to shut down that place. There's an emergency situation right now, not just because of this man, the Algerian, but the fact that they can't even locate the prisoners. Stop all visits. Nobody can go into the prison anymore. Done. Shut it down. Complete lockdown. Find out what's going on. Why can't you find your own prisoners? It's an absolute shambolic situation. How many of them are going to accidentally be released, as they call it, accidental, obviously, and how many of them are going to escape again? Now, the latest figures show that 262 prisoners have been released accidentally again in the last year, leading up to March 2025. This is according to the Prison Service, their annual digest, their own report. Now, in case you don't know what 262 prisoners actually mean in terms of context, that's a 128% increase. 128% increase compared to the 115 prisoners that were released in error in the year ending March 2024. Of the 262 prisoners, 233 of them were from prisons that actually 29 of them were released by the court judges. The judges basically somehow in error wrote a letter saying you can release that prisoner. In error. Randomly, a judge wakes up in the morning, writes a letter saying, can you release that dangerous foreign criminal, that foreign criminal? So that was 29 of them. And then 233 of them were, the decision came from the prison themselves, the prisons themselves. Now, the prison service says that in the report that the releases in error remain infrequent. It's not really a big issue. But, I mean, are you kidding me with this? It's absolutely a weird situation that we're now dealing with. in this country. There's some reaction we're going to get, but this is a live ongoing development. There's some more updates coming in the next couple of minutes. Stay with me. Ivan says, I'm not buying that these are mistakes. One is a mistake. I mean, also within the same month or a few weeks. Jackie says, no such thing as accidentally. It is negligence. That also kind of suggests unintentional. So what if it's not unintentional? Ivan says that this should end Lammy, for F's sake. Yep, well, he's toast. It says this is a total farce. Yep, I am outraged. We have a Muppet Justice Minister. A little bit. Massive corruption here. I am livid. Says the good years are gone. Very appropriate username, by the way. And Ivan says, we no longer have prisons, just holiday parks. It's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Gareth says, oh my days, this country is seriously useless. If they're not releasing a video, they're releasing a potential terrorist. What the F? So, I mean, yeah, this is the thing. They tend not to release white-collar criminals. You know, the accidental releases that we keep getting, right? The so-called accident. Why are there never those who, I don't know, failed to pay their taxes, or somebody who embezzled some money from some company, right? It's never them. They never get accidentally released. It always tends to be, well, almost 100% at this point, foreign criminals, right? I know that the huge population in the prisons are foreign, but that's not an excuse. But they also all tend to be either very touchy people who want to touch girls, or, you know, little bit jihadi. What is going on here? You can't tell me this is just an accident every single time. Now, there is more info coming in to us. So now the Ministry of Justice are telling us, I can't take this seriously. David Lammy's office have now confirmed what we confirmed, that yes, David Lammy himself actually knew. So until now, what we reported a few minutes ago, the 2CTV exclusive, that we spoke to the Minister of Justice, and the Minister of Justice said, they confirmed that David Lammy's office knew. That's different to David Lammy himself, right? Justice Secretary. Now we can confirm that the Justice Secretary was aware. But there's a new excuse. He was aware of the release, but he wasn't aware if the prisoner was an asylum seeker. I love how they're like, well, yeah, what we meant by the Justice Secretary not knowing all the facts, we meant, oh, he didn't know if the guy was an illegal migrant or not. That's not the thing. The problem here is that you released a foreign criminal and you essentially indicated and implied that you didn't know anything about it. You're like, well, what are these questions? You were asked 5 times in the House of Commons 2 hours ago, less than 2 hours ago. And you were just saying, well, what are these questions? What foreign criminal? What prison? We don't have prisons. Now you're saying, oh, I meant I didn't know if it was an asylum seeker. I don't care. Now, we do have the timeline. I'm going to read this to you for you guys. 29th of October. All right, this goes back. The 24-year-old Algerian man. All right, this is where it gets weird. Serving time after trying to steal, he was accidentally released, as they call it. On the 5th of November, on the 4th of November at 1 p.m., that's yesterday, 1 p.m., the prison service informs the Metropolitan Police. Today, we discovered, the police told us that it's happened. 12 p.m. today, UK time, the shadow minister from the Tory front bench asked David Lammy 5 times. And then at 12:35 p.m., that's 35 minutes later, the news broke. The Tories knew, the Tories were aware, and they basically gave an opportunity to the government to answer a very simple question. They had a feeling. I think they were just banking on David Lammy not to answer that question. And yeah, he didn't answer that question. Number 10 continued to double down, saying that the Prime Minister is not aware. I'm not surprised. I don't think Downing Street are lying, because the Prime Minister is not aware of anything that's happening in the country. He doesn't know what's going on. He's just a muppet. He's just walking around thinking that he just looks pretty. But yeah, I don't think they tell Starmer much, because I don't think they want to get him into trouble. So this is basically a plausible deniability, saying, well, the Prime Minister didn't know because we didn't tell him. So it's bad. It's so bad that right now the Labour Party, the Labour from bench, are having an emergency meeting about the future of David Lammy. It's so embarrassing. I think we're getting some more updates quickly before I get your reactions again. Wow. So the police are saying they have absolutely no idea, because they have no leads. They don't know where to start. They don't know anything about this man anymore. They haven't even asked the public to support them, to assist them. This is the norm. This is part of the procedure. What you do, you ask the general public, this is the name of the prisoner, this is the photo of him, this is what it looks like, go help us. They are still refusing to give us the name or the photo. All we know is that he's 24 and he's from Algeria. Why is he not in France? Algeria should be in France, not the UK, as a former colony. But, you know, somehow he decided to be here. So the public can't even support the police, even if they wanted to. The police are saying they have no leads. I'm not really sure why this is going on right now. Lovely times. Anyway. Really says, what an S show. The UK is like a banana republic these days. Do you remember when Britain used to rule the waves? Yeah. You know, the British Empire, when they were going to countries and taking over and managing everything and everyone. Phil says, what about all the cameras in London? But this is a very, very good opportunity, by the way, for the government to introduce something called digital IDs, right? This is a perfect opportunity for the government to say, well, if we had digital IDs, it would be a lot easier. Maybe it will even help the government. Maybe if it will help the government if you even put microchips in people, right? To track them. Oh, that's another good idea, right? Then you would definitely be able to help find everybody. Yeah, give everyone digital IDs and a microchip. Get Bill Gates to make it. Although Microsoft is probably not very good at that sort of stuff these days anymore. Get Apple to make it. This is what they're going to do now. Now, in order to keep you safe, this is the national security problem. You know, in order to keep you protected from yourself and the foreign criminals that we are bringing into the country to basically abuse your children, we're going to have to put a microchip in you and give you a digital ID. Thank you, Paula. Ivan says, this guy is permanently in the wind. John says, exactly, Maya. It's just a nice idea. I don't know if they've actually thought about this, but if they haven't considered this option, government, yeah, digital IDs. Lunacy, absolute lunacy. Oh my God. I love how this has been going on for a week. When was the 29th? 29th of October, right? Was that 7 days ago, 6 days ago? 7 days ago. It was 7 days ago. And they own, the thing is, the fact that for 6 days, 6 or 7, 5 days, the prison service didn't even bother telling the police. How? What were they doing? Did the prison think that they... I genuinely think, considering that they've told us that inside Wandsworth, the prison staff don't know where prisoners are. Inside the prison. They are losing prisoners inside the prison, right? I'm guessing for the first few days, they were just looking around in the toilets and everything else to see if they can find the guy. And then they were like, oh, maybe he's actually not here. Let's call the police. Because the prison can't really send out their officers to go and find a guy in the middle of London. The only way is to tell the police. It's so embarrassing. Right. Someone said he's already out of the country. Probably on the boat back to France. As an Israeli, I would like to know what you got in exchange for the released terrorists. I didn't release them myself, so I didn't get anything out of it. But if you're asking the government, I don't know. Maybe the digital IDs, I guess. Marmite says, now I know what it is to be a lefty and angry, except I feel the same towards Labour. It's not even just about the Labour Party or Labour government. It's the whole system right now. You got civil servants, you've got the officials, and you've got the bureaucrats in the police, prison service. Have you seen the state of the Home Office? Like the actual civil servants. I'm not surprised. None of this is surprising anymore. Paula says, do we know how? And what was his crime? So he had a number of crimes, but the arrest was based on trespassing and intent to steal. He was stealing, and he was also a sex offender. So he was just multitasking is very important if you want to be a criminal. You have to be able to multitask, and this man was very good at multitasking. So we don't know how he was released. We don't know who signed the order. Also, why are the people who are signing these orders not getting into trouble? We've had judges. So 29 prisoners have been released because a judge woke up and wrote a letter and signed to release a prisoner accidentally. And about 200 more of them, it was signed, the order was signed by somebody in prison, okay? Mostly the governor. Why are they not facing any consequences? Like, at this point, I don't actually care about the government ministers or the prime minister. We'll deal with them later, right? Because, you know, they need to be accountable in terms of telling us the truth. But what about the prison governors? What about the judges who keep making these alleged mistakes? Why are they making mistakes? If they're making repeated mistakes, right, then why are they not being sacked or made redundant? Because clearly they got problems. Maybe they have bad memory. Anyway, this is still ongoing. The manhunt carries on in London. It's become a weekly thing now in London. Manhunt after manhunt. Soon you're going to see the same thing in New York City with Zohran Mamdani as the new mayor. Of course, as we did the full coverage last night of the election, which lasted about 10 minutes until we got the results. It was very quick. Everybody knew Mamdani had won. London has fallen and New York is falling. Don't forget to join 2C TV Plus to support our new media independent team. And of course, get something out of it. Get access to full documentaries, podcasts, interviews, chat forum, everything. Use the promo code NYC25 and go on 2c.tv or find the direct link in the description. Don't click on the join button on YouTube. That's nothing to do with us. And you will get 25% off annual memberships, not monthly, annual memberships of 2C TV Plus, and download the 2C TV app from your app stores on Maya 2C. And we are the media.